Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, no matter where in the world you might be. It's Monday Madness, and my goodness, has football gone mad in the last 48 hours. Here we go. We're going to try and break it down on the Highbury Squad. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Amanda, Princess Guna, aka PG Tips. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Welcome to the show. It's going to be one hell of a show.
Welcome back to my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell.
Oh, let's go. I'm ready.
Are you ready for this one? I think you might be. And joining us is overall football guru, TV broadcaster, presenter. If you don't follow him on Twitter, you're missing out on life. Mr. Joe Morrison, welcome to the Highbury Squad.
Thank you.
Hey, this is the guy who keeps me in check.
Can anyone keep you in check?
This is the main guy.
I just want to reword that. Keeps him in checks.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
More than one. All right.
Well, this is the kind of stuff I'm having to deal with today, and I feel like this is the kind of joke Joe would crack, Kev. So a friend of mine who's a Liverpool fan just sent this. Breaking news: Arsenal have decided not to participate in the European Super League. They're starting their own breakaway league with just themselves, and the bookies currently have them as second favourites to win.
Hey, Sophie, I've got to admit, I don't like that one.
I don't like that one at all.
I don't like it.
All right. Good evening to everyone in chat. I'll get your comments up as soon as possible. But Joe, just wanted to kick things off with you. Of course, you and Kev cover La Liga, the big three, the cheeses in the big three cheeses in La Liga are definitely involved in this. Initially, your take on this, and then we can get stuck into one of the curious things for me, because you do have fan ownership with Barcelona. You have it in Germany, whereas Bayern have chosen not to participate and Dortmund haven't, but Barcelona are. So maybe you could just kind of give us a little overall view on what you think.
Oh, is this the Super League, is it? I thought this was the Jose Mourinho Memorial Show. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to say goodbye.
That's next.
I've been missold here. I came on to talk about Jose. No, in all seriousness, what do you want me to say? Where do we begin?
Let's begin with what you think and know, and your response to this initially, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the Spanish teams. Yeah.
So it's going to happen, and it's going to happen in some way, shape, or form. I'm all for it happening, and as the course of the next hour follows on, I'll tell you why, and I'm sure you've got a million questions as well. And the reason I'm for it happening is clubs are on the big clubs are on the verge of bankruptcy, number one. Number two, the current business model of the way clubs are run, and I'm talking about in relation to broadcast, is flawed. And number three, what is legacy? What is history? What is it? Do we still go around on horses because they are more reliable? They were more reliable than cars? No. So in principle, they're my basic, and I'm surmising, obviously, and cutting it very short. But in simplicity, that's my opinion.
So you're for this. Thanks to all 230 in live chat right now for joining us as well. We really appreciate you. So you're for this because if it's inevitable, then it has to happen at some point, and why not now? And because there was a telex machine once and a fax machine once, it doesn't mean, then email came along and then social media. So you're talking about the evolution of life?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Sophie. And the thing is, and one thing, and we'll get more deeper into this as we go along, is you have to separate the domestic audience from the global audience. Now, when I was growing up, there was only a domestic audience. You couldn't see what was then the First Division anywhere else on the planet. The Premier League only became widely broadcast in about 99, 2000. That's when it became a global game. It's now a global game. Get used to it, accept it. So All of those
We
that
don't
are
have
ranting,
to accept globalization for everything, do we, Joe? I mean,
Okay.
countries still have cultures, teams still have cultures, fans have
Right.
cultures,
And
they have
traditions,
backgrounds,
and traditions.
belongings, traditions. Why does everything have to be globalized? Why?
And you-
So
Really
okay.
interesting what he said. Did you hear what sorry, Joe, when you went, the Premier League? We weren't the Premier League. We were
Correct.
Division
Football
1.
league.
We were the
League.
Football League. And that's what's changed. As you said it became global with the Premier League, Sky, and then you can carry on.
So Amanda, why did it become the Premier League?
Money.
Well, it was money, but how and why did it become the Premier League? It became
Discussed
the
it
Premier
last
League.
Go on, Joe.
Sorry, Amanda. It became the Premier League because the stakeholders wanted to control the league. So now the Premier League is run by the 20 clubs that are in it. Right. That's not the case with the Champions League. The clubs that are in the Champions League do not own and run the Champions League. And that's the principle that's at stake here. So I don't see what's wrong with that. What's wrong with wanting to make and formulate the decisions and the format and all the other things and how we distribute the rights and how we make money and commercials and revenues and all the rest of it? Why can't I make that decision? People are tuning in around the globe to watch Arsenal, to watch Manchester United, to watch Liverpool. They're not tuning in to watch Ferencvaros. I'm sorry, they're not.
No, but they're also tuning in to watch a team that they love, of course. But what's happened is that now a fan like me who's moved away from my country and I live in the United States has become more important than the fan that goes through the turnstiles. But the fans that went through the turnstiles are the fans that have set the foundation for football. And I think I don't think anyone would have had an issue with this, Joe, had it not been, well, you can't play in the FA Cup, you can't play in the League Cup. And if you're going to play and then UEFA come out and say, punishing the players, like if they play in this, I mean, where else are they going to go get a job, for example, that they'll be banned from playing in the Euros and the World Cup.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Sophie. That's cowardly. So what? You're putting it on the players. So first and foremost,
exactly.
The game is about the players. If you are man enough and strong enough, then face up and front up to the Glaziers and to the Fenway Sports Group and to the oligarchs and the oil sheiks, etc. If that's who your war is with, that's fine. Go for that. But just coming back to where you began, Sophie, it's like, look, do you want the best players in the world playing for Arsenal? Yes or no?
It depends at what cost.
Do you want the best players in the world playing for Arsenal?
Yes, you do.
I do.
Depends at what cost.
So, right.
No, I do.
The cost is financial.
There we go.
It's as simple as that.
Then no.
The cost is financial. It's like, if you cannot afford to pay Leo Messi's wages, then you can't have Leo Messi. It's as simple as that.
Well, maybe Leo Messi should lower his wages.
If the players care that much, they'll all do it.
Can I just have a moment here, because I live in the US, right? And when I first moved here, it was 20 years ago. I love American sports, but American sports has been built on a platform that has existed for however long American sports has existed. There's always this argument, Joe, about promotion and relegation in MLS and other sports. I mean, for that matter, the Arizona Diamondbacks would never have won the World Series because in a relegation battle, they'd be in the minor leagues. The New York Knicks would be playing in the D League right now. But that's not how American sport is set up. And we do have an influence of American ownership at 3 of the top clubs in England, especially in the Premier League. But you can't have a totalitarian society where these groups of teams decide, because they can, that they set up a league and then they say, we're never going to get relegated from this league, but you can work your asses off and try and join us at some point, and then there's going to be a playoff. How long do you think Arsenal fans are going to want to see us play Barcelona over and over again? I mean, it's unfathomable. Right. It's ruining the essence of what European football was founded on.
This is a brilliant debate, and I've had fabulous debates all day and last night as well with many people, because, and I'll tell you why it's a brilliant debate. One, it's a very hot topic, and it affects us all because we're all football fans. Some of us work in football in the sense of myself and Kev. But at the same time, there's a huge amount of emotion in it. Now, one of the things that I've heard quite a lot today and read quite a lot on social media is fans will get sick of Liverpool playing Real Madrid every week. Bollocks. Liverpool will not play Real Madrid every week. In the same way as Manchester United don't play Liverpool every week in the current league season. It just won't happen. So the fact of the difference is that Liverpool will play Real Madrid one week. That's a juicy fixture. They will play Juventus the next week. That's a juicy fixture, if you're a Liverpool fan, obviously. They'll play Arsenal the next week. That's a juicy fixture. They'll play Barcelona the week after that. You see where I'm going with this?
Joe, I'll tell you what's not juicy, okay, is the fact that when we are tempting, for instance, we're playing Villarreal next week, if we're still in the Europa League, because we've been threatened to be chucked out of that. The thrill and the tense. Yeah, but you say that, but I'm sorry.
They threaten. But
no, I'm not. I know, but we don't know anything at the moment. Everything's up in the air, and we're just going on what we know at the moment. Okay, the thrill of trying to beat Villarreal to get to the final to play whoever is so immense and so exciting, and so the build up, everything towards it.
For who?
So you tell for fans, for me. I'm a season ticket holder.
No, but even international fans, Joe.
Wait a second. Sorry, not me. Arsenal fans. Yeah? We all will be on tenterhooks for 3 or 4 days before, like we do when we play Spurs. It's the build-up. It's the excitement. I'll tell you now, play Barcelona on a Friday night and Real Madrid the week after. Oh, well, I won't be tuning in. I'm not interested. I've said that since last night. This will not give me the excitement of something like that does. And if they ban us from going to Wembley, FA Cups, it is completely off the scale. I have been to Wembley about 20 times. And what?
Let her finish. Let her finish her
No,
thought.
I'm just saying, PG, let me speak after you because I've got something to add to this.
Okay. So I'm just a match-going fan, Joe. Okay, I'm not in the media. I've only become on podcasts because I'm a match-going fan. I don't write blog. I don't do anything. I just go to Arsenal, and I've been going since 1975. Yeah? You tell me now that I'm going to want to watch. You can't get relegated. You can't get promoted. It's all bollocks. And that's just my opinion. I feel, and to be honest, everyone I have seen on my Facebook, I've got Liverpool, United, Tottenham, everyone's in agreement. I've not seen one, and we're normally arguing all day long, obviously. I've seen one Arsenal fan say to me, "This is a great idea. We'll get the best players." Do you know what? You suck the fun out when Roman Abramovich walked in and changed the playing field, when Sky changed times, like when Arsenal play Liverpool at 3:00 on a Saturday afternoon, and then they make it, 7:00 or 8:00 on a Monday night, and I can't go because I can't get home.
Yeah,
this
but
is
8
all
o'clock on a
greed.
Monday night is 3:00 somewhere else in the world. It's not.
I don't
just
care about the rest of the world, Joe. That's
fine. That's your opinion, but the rest of the world does care.
I wouldn't dictate to Italian leagues, Spanish leagues when they should play. They play when they want. The problem is the Premier League is the biggest product in the world. That is the problem. We have become so popular globally. Now it's being taken out of my hands as a normal fan. It's gone. It's now gone. As you said, it will be 3:00 somewhere for the Asian market, the American market. And so you know what, Joe? I don't care how I come across with this. I don't care about those markets. I want my Saturday at 3:00 under the hybrid clock that is at the Emirates. I want to watch my football team. I don't want to sit there on a Friday night watching Arsenal Barcelona for a nothing league. Get me in the Champions League final with them and I'd be it wherever it was in the world. But you're asking, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's no jeopardy in the game. You're right, Overlord. We'll get to that.
PG, what I will say is this. Probably about 5 years ago, me and Joe had this first conversation. And we've had discussions after, but about 3 years ago, we had a very serious conversation about this. And I was exactly where you were. The tradition, the fans, and etc. It's not going to happen. And Joe said to me, Kev, when the Premier League took the Football League, took the first division away from the Football League, all the clubs were in on it.
Yeah, of course.
But they didn't try to take the FA Cup away, the League Cup away.
Hold on. That was the first part is the key.
Of course, we know.
That's where the greed starts. So I'll let Joe go on to why it was always coming. We know it was always coming, but it's here now.
So here's the thing. Just to quickly answer you, Amanda. You're an ultra. You're what's called in the sports business an ultra. Now, and I don't mean that in the
Italian
sense
ultra.
of
No, she bloody is.
No, I'm a lover, not a fighter.
I don't mean that in the sense that you're going around smacking people. So what's known as sports? So there's in the sports business, there's two things. There's ultras and there's casuals. Now, ultras are ones who, no matter what, will follow their team. They'll watch the sport. So I love, for example, UFC, but I'm not an ultra. I'm a casual. So when Conor McGregor's fighting, I don't care who's broadcasting it, how much subscription I've got to pay, I'll go watch him. Nate Diaz is another one. But the other fighters, not so much. So I'm a casual. Now, here's the problem, Amanda, with casuals and ultras. From a monetary perspective, and every sport is different, so please just give me a little bit of leeway here. Casuals and ultras, casuals account for approximately 15 to 20% of the revenues. Ultras account for approximately 15 to 20% of the revenues, and the casuals account for approximately the rest. Obviously, there's an element at the end who will never watch Arsenal, or never watch the Premier League, or never watch UFC, no matter what. You are trying to capture that casual audience because that's where your future revenues are going to come from. The ultras will always tune in. They will always buy the shirt. They will always buy the season ticket, the merchandise, and anything that's going to be sold by them. So you are not the person that they're targeting in this particular deal. The bit that I'm going to come on to with regards to Kevin is clubs are cash-hungry monsters. They swallow millions of cash every single year. How do you keep feeding that monster? Now, what's happened in the last couple of years that's been accelerated by COVID is that in the past, the rights holders, Premier League, La Liga, Champions League, every other sport on the planet, went to a TV broadcaster and said, what did you pay us last time? Just up it by 20% and we're all good. Thank you very much. Great to do business with you. That's coming to an end. The last domestic rights deal for the Premier League went down. It didn't go up, it went down. It was the global deal that saved it and kept it on par. So you have to start looking at the global picture and the global fans. Fans are staying up till 4 a.m. in Singapore to watch Arsenal. So what makes them lesser of a fan than you who goes to the game every week?
We've never said that on this show. We
Hold
on.
Amanda just said she doesn't care. She cares about.
I don't care.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's why
she's always she's always embraced the international fan.
Absolutely.
Never. I'm just saying she just said to Joe
because of what's happened now. She's entitled to.
Right, hold on a second, Kev. For the people over here that love the NFL, I'm sure the American fans couldn't care less if they get up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to watch it. Hold on. Let me just answer.
I'm only saying, Joe mentioned that because you said
I did say it. Yeah, absolutely.
But that's, I'm not saying you disrespect other fans. No,
I will explain.
It's about business.
I understand, Joe. I understand. I'm not an idiot. Business started the late 80s with football, that's for sure. 100% when it all started to change. And as I said on the pod yesterday, when it got popular with Beckham crying at the World Cup, with Gaza, I saw loads more women come into football. Then it became a popular thing to do was to be a football fan. It never was in the 80s. But my point is this. My cousin left England to live in Perth in Australia. He went to every Arsenal game. He was at Anfield in 89. He was everywhere with us. He gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning. He chose to live in Australia. He chooses to watch Arsenal, an English club, and gets up and does it.
But he's still an ultra.
I'm not saying he's not. And there's ultras all around the world.
He's not the casual.
Absolutely. No. But my point is, you do not change a product for another country. The NFL will not change till 11 o'clock in the morning to suit the English market.
Whoa, stop. You're wrong. The NFL is now...
They play 11 o'clock in the morning?
No, you're wrong. The NFL is now playing, I think it's now 2 games abroad.
No, it's actually 4 games.
Sorry.
And
sorry,
it
They're
will
not
be more...
charging the whole season.
Hold on a second.
They're playing 4 games abroad now.
They are playing 4 games in London. But here's the scoop. You still know the NFL is going to start at 10 a.m. here, and there'll be the 1 p.m. game. The game in London may start a little earlier, but it's just part of the marketing. The NBA, same thing. They play games in China. They do preseason games. MLB, you've got the global World Series too. And look, we're under no illusion here. We know like football's the number 1 sport in the world. And, you know, the US sports, the NBA and NFL have been the ones testing the water. But let's all be honest here. And the International Champions Cup, Joe, to me, was the beta test to all of this.
Correct.
Charlie Stilitano and what he created for the International Champions Cup, because,
tell the viewers the numbers that were at those games. And these are friendly games with nothing riding on them.
I was there at the Rose Bowl and the Coliseum, 100,000, 90,000 people. And unfortunately, you know, whether people like it or not, we may see a North London derby in Los Angeles. We may see a Barcelona. We may see an El Clasico in New York. And when these teams have come over, it's been massive. But I think the integrity of the cost of that, I'm all for it. I benefited from it in the sense that, wow, Arsenal come here, Barcelona, Real Madrid, I get to interview Mourinho, get to stand next to Beckham, things I'd never be able to do if I was in England, Joe, to be quite honest with you, as a journalist or broadcaster. But I think now, and where Amanda's coming from too, is at what cost? Before it was the tours, the summer. But I want you to explain too that International Champions Cup, because for me, they haven't said it yet, but that was the test market and it worked. And here we are.
So therefore the question, you've answered the question, which is it works. It not only was the stadium full with, what did you say?
It works for international fans who don't get to see their beloved teams. What it takes away from is, and I think the issue that homegrown fans like Amanda have is, don't take my FA Cup away from me. Don't take my League Cup away from me. Don't take my promotion and relegation fight away from me. Even though I might be in despair as an Arsenal fan right now, don't take these things away from me.
PG. Sorry, Joe. But it's not the club taking that away. It's the Premier League and the FA taking it away. It's not Arsenal.
Oh,
you do realize.
You know what?
You do realize.
Of course, it's the owner. The owners are.
No, hold on. You do realize that, don't you? This is important. Really important part. It's that, remember when the Premier League took the first division away from the FA, the FA was saying that they're gonna ban them,
sanction them.
They're gonna do all of that.
Them out.
You know what, Kev? Manchester United started this when they foregoed playing in the FA Cup to play in the FIFA World Club Cup.
Yeah, another instance, right? Yeah, there you go.
But can I just say something else that
everyone make it right?
We haven't mentioned yet.
I'm not saying it makes it right, but that was another domino over.
Of course, the disrespect to the FA Cup, where now you see the FA Cup starts at 2 o'clock. The actual TV programs, when it used to be on at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we had it all day and it was special. But something else that we've not mentioned that is really, really important is the fact that you're not mentioning any other clubs here, Joe. Forget us. What about Leeds, West Ham, Everton? So what do? Just fall away and die away?
Look, it's probably at this particular point that I should make everyone aware who's watching this. I'm Newcastle United. I was born in the city. I worked for the club. Do you imagine how I feel? Because we are definitely being
we're
left
sorry,
out.
Joe. We're sorry.
Well, we
But
lent
you
you
don't
Willock.
seem- but you-
We lent you Willock.
Yeah, we lent you Willock.
God's
He's
sake.
doing well.
You're
How
welcome.
grateful,
But
eh?
you don't-
How
you don't-
ungrateful. We
Yeah,
lent you
yeah.
Willock.
But
We're
Joe,
just
you
like
don't
you.
seem bothered about that. You're quite for it.
Oh no, no! Because what I'm doing in particular, talking to you guys, but also as well on social media, is I'm separating the emotion from the reality. Inside, I'm absolutely boiling that we are not going to be part of that. Now, there's a guy called Sir John Hall, which some people watching
I
this may
remember
or
him.
may not
I know.
He
he's
died,
the great.
didn't he? He died.
No, he's still alive.
Can I?
Oh, he's still alive. Yeah.
He used to come into my office about once a month when I worked at Newcastle United, and he'd got off the plane from some meeting he'd had in New York or Los Angeles. He was always going all over the world with his business interests, but he had Newcastle United at heart. And he would come in and he would sit down and he would say, not the MLS, the MLB, the Major League Baseball, they are coming up. This is 20 plus years ago, by the way, girls. They're talking about doing this. What do you think? Where should we be with this? What's your opinion on this? So 20 plus years ago, Sir John could see that to keep that revenue stream coming in, to grow the club. You know, I was watching Gary Neville before. I love his passion and all the rest of it. He's mistaken on some things. He's bang on others. Old Trafford is a dump. It's not up to standard. So it needs to be rebuilt. Where's the money coming from? Manchester United are $500 million in debt. So just coming back to Newcastle, you're absolutely right. We're going to be left behind. I'm even more infuriated that the Premier League, in their infinite wisdom, denied His Highness Mohammed bin Salman and the PIF group to buy into Newcastle United. Because
But you know
now
what?
there's a double whammy. Because who's in trouble out of those 12 that were named today? Who's in trouble? Who's in the biggest trouble? Inter Milan are looking for a buyer. PIF are going to walk in there, take Inter Milan, and they get a top seat at the European table. And last year, they were looking at my beloved Newcastle United. Stupidity from the top. And what comes with that? What do you need to have a breakaway league? Answer the question. What do you need to have a breakaway league? There's two fundamental things you need to have a breakaway league, aside from the money, of course.
I just want to say something which is really interesting that you just said. You went, I'm boiling that we're not going to be in this. None of us want to be in this. That's the funny
You're
thing.
Arsenal. You're Arsenal. You are getting a seat at that table. Why do you not want that?
But we don't want the seat. We don't even want the table.
Why-
We don't want
He'll
it.
take it. Newcastle
Yeah, but that-
United, he'll take it.
No, they won't. You think Newcastle United fans will
Newcastle
take
fans-
this? No, they
But
won't.
this is the thing. The domestic fans won't have it like many other domestic fans. The global fans will go, yes, please. I'll have it.
This
Oh.
entitlement is what's wrong with the world, Joe. This is what people have a problem with. Okay. You have money, so you think you can do what you want, when you want, and how you want. And
Yeah.
that's not you. It's just that these owners come into our game. And I don't care what anyone else says. And we will play the Henry Winter piece that we recorded earlier. Okay. Money's a great thing. We all want to be rich. We all want to have lives where we don't have to worry about putting food on the table, paying the mortgage. You got fans who save their money and sacrifice to have their kids go to the football. And now these greedy bastards, okay, $7 billion, JP Morgan Chase, backing it all, they don't get kicked out. Oh no, only you can come and join us. There are people working 5 jobs right now. And to save themselves from COVID and all this bollocks, they've been planning this all along, and now they want to do this, and they just think that fans should accept it. Why? Money talks and bullshit walks. And you know what? This is the time where fans are sensing the bullshit and they're not having it, and people need to step in.
So let me ask you a question. So first of all, on the money thing, where do you think JP Morgan themselves have said we are backing it? That doesn't mean necessarily they are going to be the primary investor. And that's
they've committed to what, $7-8 billion right now,
which
pounds.
we're all going to have to pay back. So
wait
they're
a
not
second.
giving it to you.
They are not going into their own pocket and putting $7 or $8 billion
No, they're
on
not.
the table.
No, they're not.
JP Morgan are an investment bank. What does that mean? It means that they are able to go out to the world and say, Sophie, are you interested in getting involved in this? Give me $1 billion. Kev, what are you in for? I'm in for 2 billion, Joe. I'll take that. No problem at all.
I'm
That's
in for
what
2
they
cans
do.
of Guinness, me, mate. Don't worry about that.
But the thing is, Joe, can I just say something? We've obviously, as clubs at the table, we're going to get 300-400 million. What would be the point in reinvesting in players when you can't get relegated or get promoted?
You want to win.
You get the best players.
Hold on a
But you
second.
want to win.
I'd like to
Only
add-
one person can
like-
win it. There's
Amanda.
nothing to.
Yeah, but
No,
you
no, no, no,
still,
no,
Add
no.
him.
you
One
still
second.
have
Okay.
a competitive league.
Our owner doesn't invest now. He's certainly not going to invest then when it don't mean anything. He doesn't need fans in the ground. That's not going to mean anything anymore. You won't have a ground anymore.
The Starship
Sorry.
Enterprise, just a little way down the road here from me, that
Look.
he's put 7 billion into. I'm just going to add. I'm going to add our next guest. And Joe, I know you're going to spend a few more minutes with us here, but your juxtaposition with Tim here. I'm going to add Tim. I'll let Amanda introduce Tim. Tim, welcome to the Highbury Squad. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good evening.
Hi,
Hey,
Tim.
Tim. Have you been listening or not?
I've been listening for the last few minutes while I try and eat a bit of dinner because it's been the most mental day.
Oh, I can imagine.
I've
So,
been the
for
biggest-
everyone that doesn't know, this is Tim Payton. What do you call yourself? Not manager of the AST.
Guru,
board-
board member.
I'm a
Board
board member
member.
of the Arsenal Supporters Trust.
Which I'm a member of, and I go to
You
all
are.
the meetings. And like, imagine now, Tim, if you had a meeting now, what would be going on?
Well, we're having a meeting tomorrow night and
Oh.
we're actually doing something that we've never done before, which shows its importance. And would you ever think that we would have a Spurs fan come to an Arsenal meeting or a Liverpool fan or a
Wow.
Manchester City
But it's
fan?
needed.
But
It's
we've
needed.
invited the leaders of their trusts because we're in this together. This isn't a war on Arsenal. This is a war on football fans. This is taking the piss out of all of us. And so we wanted to show solidarity and that we'll only win this by fighting together.
So
We're inviting them.
So Tim, what you and the board members do with your free time as part of the AST is so important. We chatted to Henry Winter, who was your last guest at the AST, and he had a lot of things to say about this. Very against it. He's at the Leeds game. We're going to play the feature with him a little bit later on. I think the way you're talking about the collaborative effort of all fans coming together is really important. I just wanted to get your take because you guys had tried to speak to the owners and get something out of them with regards to this. Can you talk us through a little bit about what you knew, what you were trying to unearth, and what's come to be?
Well, in terms of this issue, we knew that something was happening because they had to renew the Champions League broadcast contracts and its structure at UEFA, and big meetings were due. And there's like a pressure group of clubs called the European Clubs Association that usually do all of this campaigning, and they were the group that led to the creation of a Champions League. And Arsenal have been quite prominent in that. And they'd already pushed for and forced UEFA to do things like make the Champions League a bit bigger. They were going to increase the group sizes, the group sizes that we kind of suffer through to get to the knockout. They were going to take that up to 10 games so they could create more ticket revenue and broadcast income. They were going to have a couple of guaranteed entries for clubs that didn't come in the top 4 but had the best European coefficient, but at least it was their coefficient. So that there was pressure going on anyway, but we knew that in the last few days there was this sort of hardcore of clubs led by Real Madrid with Liverpool and Manchester United pushing for more, threatening the breakaway. And Arsenal, who have always sat in that camp to watch what was going on, but decided to join in and go full on with it in the last 48 hours. Now, there is an absolute snake, an absolute enemy in the midst of all of this who brings it all together. And it's a name very familiar with us. The name is Ivan Gazidis.
Yeah.
Ivan Gazidis is now running Milan, which is run by an American hedge fund. Ivan Gazidis knows Kroenke and the other franchise American owners. Ivan Gazidis has led the discussions with JP Morgan and set this up. If there is a ringleader, it is Ivan Gazidis, who has pulled Arsenal in, probably over their heads or, by going straight to Kroenke. This is made in America. Of course, they drag some others in, and there are different forms of wealthy club we don't like. But you guys recognise this. This is the franchise model. This, the franchise model is where you're in the league every year, and so everyone guarantees a huge piece of money. You introduce a salary cap so that the owners don't have to spend too much, and they cream off the profit because there's more revenue than the salary cap, and everybody's wealthy. But it's very dull as well. And today, and we did get a few minutes with Arsenal to challenge them, and I said this question, I must have said it 5 times without getting a satisfactory answer. How do I look a Leicester City fan in the face and say we deserve to be in this Super League next year and you don't when you finished higher in the league than us? And they just stare at their feet and waffle and say, oh, there might be other ways of getting in. Then I ask the question, why should I give a shit about Arsenal-Everton on Friday? Because we're in the European Super League next year by invite. So it doesn't matter where we finish in the Premier League. It's a meaningless friendly. Can we have our money back? Well, we're not paying to get in, but you know what I mean. Again, shuffling of feet. They do not get it. They just want to create guaranteed fixtures, guaranteed income, take all the jeopardy away. It's really frustrating to draw 1-1 with Fulham, but we kind of also value that, don't we? If we've got 500 million a year and Fulham have got 50 million a year and we're winning 6-0 and 8-0, it's not entertaining, is it? That's not what competitive balance is. That's not what football is. But
that's the current Champions League, Tim.
That's where they want us to go. Well, you get that a little
in the group stage. That's the current Champions League.
You can get that
mismatches, total mismatches
in some of the games because the revenue isn't shared enough. You need to share the revenue more, not hold on to even more of it. So this is, but I don't think I've seen a sensible voice speak in favour of this yet.
So if you say the problem,
except Joe,
except me. No, I'm not a sensible voice. I'm just in favour of it. Right. So if you say the problem is not sharing the money, why weren't they sharing the money?
Why?
Yeah, UEFA. Why weren't they sharing the money? If they're not sharing enough of the money, why?
Well,
it's too late. The horse has bolted. They've had ample opportunity to reform in recent years, and they haven't done it.
You don't make it even worse. And one of the reasons that UEFA can't share any more than they have at the moment is because they're always being told there'll be a breakaway if they do. So they're kind of always under this threat. Now, in some ways, I'm glad it's happened. Arsenal should not play Villarreal next week. We've walked out. We should be kicked out. We're a scab club. We're 11 scabs running around playing football outside of the legal structures. The legal structure, you sign up to the Premier League, you sign up to the FA, you sign up to UEFA's statutes, you follow their rule book and their structure. UEFA have every right to ban all of the players from representing England. They have every right to stop Arsenal playing. Well, Arsenal can play Manchester United in the European Super League, but they can't play in the Premier League because they've walked out. They
haven't walked out of the
Premier League. They haven't walked out of the Premier League.
They haven't walked out of the Premier League.
They haven't.
They have. Because
they haven't. They haven't. They haven't. The Premier League have turned round and said, we're kicking you out.
No. Yeah, but you know why? Have you read the Premier League rule book, which says you will not organise or form a competition without the approval of the Premier League?
Right. So then the Premier League have to approve it.
No, and why would they approve this when they've announced it without?
Because it's not going against the Premier League; it's going against the Champions League.
So what? And so Arsenal have.
We can just walk through this. Right, I'm coming to you. You're the Premier League. Can we start this new competition midweek, Tim? Yes or no?
No.
Right. So then you've kicked us out.
No.
We haven't left. You've kicked us out.
But they didn't even ask, did they?
Look, you can.
No, they did. There's a meeting tomorrow of 14 teams that got shined on by the other teams, and depending on what they do. And Tim, I want to circle back to you. Because this has obviously gone on. They know these conversations. You've had Bayern Munich say no, Dortmund say no. Different model there, Tim. You've got Barcelona, which also has fan ownership, but they're all in on that. You got Porto that said no. Currently, PSG. Have said no. Henry was because of the World Cup right now, but they could join. Tim, can you give us a sense of that in terms of your opinion, where you've had some teams say no strongly and not be part of it, but then unfortunately our club and other clubs in England have said yes.
We've got the greediest clubs owned by the Americans.
Yeah.
I live in America, and this breaks my heart because I was just saying, like, let's not blame America for this. Let's not blame American ownership for this.
Well, it is American ownership because it's absolutely being driven by the Glazers, Kroenke, and the guys that own
John Henry. But also, isn't Florentino Perez and Andrea Agnelli also huge proponents of this? Andrea Agnelli and Charlie Silitano, International Champions Cup model, Tim.
But they are copying and replicating what I call the American franchise model. You know the American franchise model better than myself. It's in effect, it's a closed league, guaranteed entry every year, no promotion and relegation. Your salary cap below the level of income so that everyone makes a profit. And that is the model. That is the model that has absolutely driven all of this. And yes, Perez is there. Actually, interestingly, Agnelli was pushing for more and more, but then got bounced. Agnelli didn't want to do this. He was very close to separate, and then got bounced by the American leadership. But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it makes this club great and that club not great. There's 12 appallingly behaved owners here. We need to go back to looking at models like in Germany. Why aren't the Germans here? Because their clubs are owned by their fans with a 50+1 proper ownership and sharing. The Spanish model is so confused in the way it works with direct elections.
Can I just ask a question, Tim? Who I'm not being funny because we're Arsenal, but who did invite Tottenham, and where have they got the fact that they haven't even won? No, but hold on a second. We have got some history and some wins under our belt. Leicester have won the Premier League and Tottenham haven't. So why have Tottenham got invited and Leicester haven't?
Why are AC Milan there? When did they last qualify for the Champions League?
Exactly.
Why are Arsenal there?
It's the American connection, isn't it? As you pointed out.
Arsenal there and not Nottingham Forest.
And Spurs have an American connection as well.
But that's why I'm asking. Let's just talk about all of that then. I mean,
Man City's not owned. I'm not going to have this become a poo-poo on America in any way.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The problem is it's not all Americans. It's 3 owners. That's the thing. People,
they've had a huge influence on it. There's no doubt. What Tim is saying is absolutely true. Like what he's saying is absolutely true.
But who decided Arsenal and Tottenham were in it? We haven't won the Champions League.
That's the whole point, Amanda. It's a carve up. They've sat down with JP Morgan.
So it's not the top 6 clubs, is it?
Wait, let him explain.
It's not exactly. It's there's no criteria here.
No, that's what I mean.
And there's a certain amount of safety in numbers. They call themselves this Big Six, although they're not. Some of them aren't good enough to run their clubs to actually finish in the top 6, are they? Particularly Spurs and Arsenal. But that's what they do. But this would not represent, if you go down UEFA's coefficient at the moment, this does not represent the top 12 in any way. It's laughable. Arsenal can't even finish 12th in the Premier League. What is it, 11th at the moment? So it's an absolute joke. There's no criteria.
Arsenal is totally understandable. Spurs, I don't understand as much, but Arsenal is understandable. Because if you go across
and say, why on earth are they there?
Right. So if you go across it, look, I just keep coming back, and this is where my conversations with Kevin regularly come to. The money drivers are the broadcast deals. And if you go across Africa, you'll see Arsenal shirts everywhere, except for North Africa, which is now Liverpool because of Mo Salah. Spurs, I don't understand, Tim, because you won't go across Africa or Southeast Asia and see Spurs shirts on every street corner. So the reasoning behind Arsenal in particular is they have this massive global fan base. It's there. I can understand them wanting to put them into the group. Spurs,
I actually think in some ways I see it's a very semantic, because neither Arsenal nor Spurs meet any criteria to be in the top 12 in Europe at the moment. Neither club is probably going to be good enough to get in the Europa League under their own sporting performance. So it's just a fucking joke that either of them are there. Why don't they do it? Why don't they do it by winning some football matches? Isn't that the way we've done it for 150 years?
Exactly.
Isn't that the concept of English
That's
football?
The old, yeah. That's the old way.
Old-fashioned, aren't I? Let's qualify.
No, we're old-fashioned, but the carve up, they've got all their mates at the table. That's
but it's really. But you know what's really interesting about today? We've seen loads and loads and loads of ex-players come out and say football's dead. I've not seen one player, unless I've missed it, come out and said anything. Ozil's come out, but obviously he's not in the Premier League anymore. Surely they can stand up and say
they can, and I think some
they're
of
not.
them will.
They're not. They're employees.
They're not.
But they are
They're not.
employees.
Oh no, they can't.
And
They're
you've got to
employees.
give them time. Where they will start to twitch is when they get banned from playing in the World Cup.
I don't think they can do that, Tim.
Okay.
It'll take one court case. Now, first of all, you're dealing with FIFA, and FIFA need to sit down and shut up because they cannot take the moral high ground in any of this, number one. And number two, Infantino has been doing the rounds of the Middle East, as I well know, because I see him here all the time, right? Courting his own Club World Cup, not the form that we know, but turning it into this big tournament. So he's got his own delusions of grandeur, if you want to call it that. So FIFA are out of the equation. If you are going to ban players, it will go to court, and then we're into a Bosman scenario, and someone will break somewhere.
It might do, but there are also strong precedents for governing bodies being able, you sign up to their rules and federations. The sport
Absolutely, Tim.
most common is darts, where darts has 2 professional leagues, 2 structures, and 2 competitions. And maybe then this 12 can set up their own World Cup. We'll have 2 World Cups.
But we were talking about this, Tim, just before you joined at the beginning of this, which was it's exactly same as the advent of the Premier League, which is the clubs want to be the stakeholders instead of UEFA being the stakeholder of the Champions League and making all the decisions. They want to make their own decisions, just the same way as the 20 clubs in the Premier League make their own decisions. Why can't they do that? Why can't they do that?
It's totally different to the establishment of the Premier League, because the Premier League established, it was 22 teams when it was founded, and it was the 22 top teams in the country. They didn't sit down in English football and say, you're in the 3rd division, but you can start, you can come in. They chose the 22, and every single year that the Premier League has run since then, they've had 3 up and 3 down based on sporting merit, and they have a fantastically redistributive model. Even now, it's the best redistributive model in Europe. It gets skewed by some of the commercial money earned, and the thing that really tilts it is it's the European money that the clubs that get into Europe earn that keeps them out. But I think the differential between in the Premier League of what you get from the top to the bottom is about 1.6, 1 to 1.6. It's incredibly balanced. That's what keeps the league so competitive and so worth watching. So if there really isn't any comparison with what the Premier League did.
But wait a second, those rights deals are going down, not up. The money into the Premier League is the domestic deal for the Premier League for the first time in its history went down in the last right cycle, not up.
Yeah.
The global money kept it on par.
Yeah.
So the money and the pandemic will have accelerated all of that because there needs to be rebates coming back as a result of audiences and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. The money goes up, the money goes down.
And I'm just going to add, and whenever you guys need to duck out, let me know. But I do want to add Carlo Garganese to our chat as well. Carlo is a broadcast journalist, has an incredible podcast. He's an expert on Italian football. And I'd love to we've got the Spanish-British angle right now. Carlo, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey guys, hi Sophie, hi everyone.
Hi Carlo.
Hi, Carlo.
Hi Kevin. I have to say first to Kevin that I was a big Arsenal fan growing up when you were playing for Arsenal. You were
doing all the dances. Nice one.
Yeah, no. Well, Wrighty was my favourite player, but I have to say, I used to do your celebration on the playground.
Nice one.
This one.
Love that.
We need a bit of that right now too, Carlo. So Tim's been talking from the Arsenal perspective. He's a board member of the Arsenal Supporters Trust. There's a little bit of feedback on your behind you, Carlo, just to let you know there. Joe is a broadcaster, covers global football, but especially he's working with Kev on La Liga this season as well. And then you bring the Italian perspective, which to me, I don't know if you know much about Charlie Stilitano in the International Champions Cup, but I know that you know a lot about Juventus and the Agnelli family and their influence in all of this. Can you give us a take on what's happening in the Italian media and how Juve fans and Milan fans and Italian fans are reacting to this?
Yeah, I do know who Charlie Cittadino is, and I remember he brought this up about 5 years ago about this Super League, and I actually remember saying some quite strong words against him back then. But I mean, it just shows what Charlie Cittadino was planning then. It just shows that this has been going on in the background for years. You know, it goes back over 20 years. 1998 was the first time Silvio Berlusconi, the then Milan president, tried to bring it in. And, you know, it's always there. It's always been the plan. And now they're basically using the coronavirus pandemic as an excuse to push it through. But in terms of, you know, what the reaction's been in Italy, it's pretty much the same as what you've had in England, what you've had all over Europe. It's pretty much unanimous condemnation from everywhere, from the fans, including the clubs that are going to be in the Super League. Juventus, Inter, and Milan are the three that are going to be in it from Italy at the moment. And also, I mean, if you look at, there's actually a meeting that's still ongoing, or might be just be finishing now, between all the clubs in Serie A about what they're going to do about this. So we don't know exactly what the reaction is going to come out after that, but we've seen some clubs already come out strongly. We've had the Torino president Urban Alcaide, who basically is called Andrea Agnelli, the Juventus president and one of the main sponsors of the Super League, and Giuseppe Marotta, the Inter CEO. He's called them traitors. Had the Sassuolo CEO Carnevale say that this will kill Serie A. We've had all the main footballing bodies in Italy, like the FIGC, which is basically the Italian equivalent of the FA. We've had the Liga Calcio, which is basically the Italian league. We've had that they've both come out and condemned it. And then even if you look at the newspapers this morning, like they've all been mostly against it. You know, Tutto Sport, which is one of the three main sports newspapers in Italy, and they're basically the newspaper of Juventus, the Turin-based. Even they've come out, their editor come out really strong words against it. So yeah, it's pretty much unanimous, really, that everyone's against it.
It's incredible, this story, and the fact that the most fans are united in this. Kev, I want to circle back to you as a player, because one of the things I think that's getting a little bit lost in this is, you know, I love all the perspectives, but I said this on our show last night. What a disgrace that Mikel Arteta or Jurgen Klopp or Thomas Tuchel have to go in front of the media today when talking about their games and are confronted by these questions. Whereas, where are the owners fielding these questions? They've thrown their managers under the bus and they've thrown their players completely under the bus. I want your perspective today from the player point of view, in that players have been, ridiculed over the years because they make money, they make lots of money. But really, like you grew up, we were talking to Henry about this, you grew up an Arsenal fan, you're a South London boy. We pretty much grew up in similar circumstances. You went on, you became a superstar at football. And now, you know, you got UEFA telling people like you, Kev, if you do this, you can't play in the World Cup for your country. You can't play in the Euros for your country. The underlying mess and the absolute hypocrisy from all of these institutions just makes my blood boil.
Yeah.
And it will, Sophie. It will. The problem we have is players are employees of the football club. So if you go against your employee, you could get reprimanded. The people at the top make the decisions. As you can see, people think, you know, the manager will be fully informed and have all the details. Now you see, they don't. Decisions are made at the very top and everybody else has to fall into line. The owners make the decisions on this one, especially big decisions like this, because you know it's going to get blowback. You know the authorities are gonna go crazy about it because it's wresting power away from the power brokers. But don't you, as Carlos said, it's been 20 years in the making. Now the accelerant, as Joe mentioned, has been COVID. And they're going to go for it now because they're not getting what they need from UEFA. They're not getting it. So they're going to make the decision. The players are with the club. Anybody who wants out, I'm sure there's going to be murders. I'm sure there will be murders.
Can I ask Carlo the financial state of the 3 Italian clubs, Carlo? What is it currently?
It's bad, very bad. Juventus are they posted losses of 113 million euros for the first 6 months of this season alone. They're forecast to make losses of over 200 million by the end of the season. That's conservative estimations, and they will need to make about 100 million in capital gains by the end of June, just to balance their books. So that's Juventus. Then you've got Inter, whose owners, they've got Chinese owners, and the COVID pandemic has absolutely destroyed the Chinese owners, basically their business back in China. They can't get capital out of the country in China. There's been restrictions put on by the Chinese government to stop money coming from China to other countries, out of the country. And they had to push back the payments on transfers, the installments that they owed money on player wages. They pushed back 4 months worth of wages. So they're struggling for money as well. I think they've still got to pay a loan back to. It might even be JP Morgan out of everyone, out of all of them, ironically.
How ironic, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Irony.
So yeah, they're in trouble. And Milan were owned by Chinese, the Chinese owners up until about 2 or 3 years ago. They defaulted on loans paid back to they couldn't pay back, and then they were taken over by a hedge fund, who are still in charge of the club. Who are real kind of vultures. I'm forgetting their name now. Gordon Singer, you might have heard of his name. So they're rebuilding the club slowly. They're in a bad state. But what you've got to remember is the rest of Serie A, the poorer teams, are in even worse state. They're really on their knees. They're fighting for survival. But those other clubs, and they're the ones that are going to be hurt the most by this Super League.
And to fill that hole, sorry.
Go on. No, I was just going to ask Joe. Can Serie A actually afford to kick these 3 teams out?
That's it, isn't it? I mean, I don't know how many of the fans in Italy are Juventus, Milan, and Inter fans, but I would say it's the vast majority, if not necessarily the fans. But in terms of, I mean, I've been in the media for over 10, 15 years, so I know the interest that the big clubs get. And, that comes with, in terms of TV figures, in terms of who watches the games on TV, in terms of traffic on the internet, on websites, and it's the big teams that drive everything. Yeah. Everything. So you kick them out of the league and
you've got nothing.
Basically it's lose-lose, whatever the rest of the league does.
Sorry.
But can I
here's the thing.
Yeah, I want
15 million.
Go on, Joe, and then I want Tim to jump in on this one.
Is what you get. So, Carlo, 15 million is the base fee for the Champions League group stage, and if you win every game in the Champions League group stage, you get another 15 million. So 30 million euros isn't going to fix any of those problems that you've just illustrated in Italian football.
Yeah,
Tim.
Exactly.
The point I wanted to come in on, you just talked about if you take away those teams, you haven't got anything left. Well, I think that totally misses the point. I'm not sure if it's 18 or 20 teams, but it needs all of them to exist. Milan can't play each other every week, can they? Mm-hmm. Even the fanboys will get bored of that. Even the people that want to just watch the goals on TikTok. It's not, as I said, it's, Arsenal play Fulham, Arsenal play Everton. That's part of what we want. Who is going to sign up to Barcelona, Real Madrid every year after year in a group stage, then play them again in a knockout stage? No variety, none of the rivalries with your friends who support other teams. They're always saying, oh, everybody watches us. They don't. On Sunday, they were watching 2 teams, Arsenal and Fulham. If just Arsenal had shown up on their own, no one would have watched those fucking overpaid prima donnas running around without 11 to play against, would they?
Timothy, I've never heard you swear like that.
Tim's lit.
But this idea that they're only watching those 11, sorry, it takes 22 to create the football match. Well, actually, it takes about 26. So
Is there something in that soup tin?
This idea, but it only exists because you've got all of these global fans who haven't even heard of half the teams in the Serie A.
I totally agree with you. I'm just putting forward their point. I mean, I've said football's dead for 15 years. I've been saying it for 15 years. But Sophie will know because we've known each other for a long time. I've been saying football's dead for a long time.
The Sky, Premier League and Roman Abramovich ruined it. I said it for years and years. We should have been exactly as we were. But I just want to ask a quick question to all of you. Where do you think the PFA stands in all this? What say will they have?
Did you read their statement today?
No. Go on, Tim, tell us.
Share it, Tim.
It was fairly critical. It talked about the importance of the pyramid. It talked about the importance of redistribution money trickling down. It talked about working with the Premier League and the FA, who are talking about expulsion. And I've looked up for Joe, you need to read Rule L of the Premier League rulebook quite carefully, and you'll see why the clubs have broken their contract with the Premier League, which is why they're not invited to the meeting tomorrow. But the PFA, obviously, players, I totally agree with Kev, they're employees, they want to earn their salary, they won't want to get embroiled in this immediately. They'll be greatly concerned about the issues of representing their country. It's not a surprise that you will see the retired players speak out because they're free to do so. I must say, what I thought one of the most impressive voices last night that I looked for straight away was Sir Alex Ferguson. If there is an elder statesman figure of English football, it's Sir Alex Ferguson, and he has that Manchester United tie-in, and he absolutely lambasted them, absolutely said they were a disgrace to all principles of how football should be run, of the pyramid, of the reinvestment model. And I thought, well done, Sir Alex. It looked to me like Jurgen Klopp, who I hugely admire, and he's clearly got that kind of socialist, communitarian view of the club and everyone being together. He looked so uncomfortable today, so uncomfortable doing his. They didn't even tell me what was coming. And he didn't speak out against it, but he spoke out against what it represents, didn't he? He talked about competitive balance and sporting merit and achievement. And you can tell that is a man that absolutely hates this. Absolutely hates it.
Tim, what I will say to you is, in 1992, when the Premier League wrestled the First Division away from the Football League, that was the cornerstone taken out. This was always coming. Yeah. We don't like it, but it was always coming. And
I think there was another, I agree, there was another, even worse for me, but what was part of it was coming, was that year when the European Cup no longer had just the champions in it.
Yeah.
It used to be the genuine test of quality, didn't it? And it also used to be a knockout stage. And I think I'm fairly saying European competition is bollocks until the knockout stage starts, isn't it? You might watch your own team in the group because you kind of have to, but it's absolutely snoring, boring. It's only when it's got the jeopardy of knockout football. What sort of anorak goes, I want to watch Messi running around in Romania in a group game? No normal fan wants to watch that. No. They want the jeopardy. They want the knockout game.
They want to see their team against Barcelona every single week.
Not every week.
No, they don't, Joe. They don't, Joe.
They do.
They don't.
I'm not saying Barcelona every single week. I'm saying.
Sorry, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Carlo, I'm just having to mute you because there's feedback on your. So when you want to say, just give me because I'm getting a lot of comments on the feedback there, but I'm sure we'll figure that part out. Apologies to everybody, but Carlo's worth it. Trust me. Joe, finish off your thought, because I loved being in the Champions League. And of course, we regressed in that competition. We didn't do very well. We saw our team thrashed a lot by Bayern Munich and other teams. That doesn't mean we don't want to be in it. The importance of being in it for Arsenal next season was going to be from a fiscal point of view, not because we think we can win it. We just need the money to be able to compete and rise again. So I don't want to watch us play Barcelona and Real Madrid every week. No, I love the culture and community that I grew up in. That doesn't mean I don't want bigger or better things in life and I don't want to see us play these teams. But I absolutely do not want that to be the culture of my football 24/7. And then I'm not being funny. Even this year when we were flirting with relegation just a little bit, my heart fluttered in a different way, in a worrying way, in an experiential way where I've never been before as an Arsenal fan. And I actually think there was an element to that kind of elevated our experience as fans in a humbling way, in a different way. The fact that was even on the cards, or the potential. So jump in and answer the question, yes, but I don't mind playing Real Madrid once every month, or, in a blue moon if we're in European competition. But that's not the culture of my football and my club.
Right. But here's the problem, Sophie. You are not the next generation. You are not the 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds who want to see their team play Real Madrid this week, play at Barcelona next week, Inter Milan, etc., etc.
Why is my generation? I'm still going to be alive, hopefully, for 50 years. Why is my generation being shat on left, right, and centre across the board?
14 and 15-year-olds
of life.
14 and 15-year-olds can't afford a Sky subscription or can't afford to go to football. So who's going to pay for it?
This might surprise you, but I come in and sort of defend Joe here, or
I like Tim, Tim, you're cool, man.
He's cool.
Now he's accepted I was right.
Who do I write the check to, Tim?
So there is this changing trend of the media profile, and the youngsters don't watch 90 minutes. They want to watch just the goals. They want, which is partly why they want more volume, and then they'll pick out of the volume the goals. And this is being driven certainly on a view of global broadcast markets. I tell you what else is coming, and of course different people will have different views. But if they're prepared to do this, are you telling me that Arsenal will play all their home games at the Emirates?
No, we won't need a stadium soon.
They'll be playing it at LA. Tim, they'll be playing at SoFi Stadium. Here's Kroenke's new $7 billion treat.
This is all what it's gearing up to, is that we will be playing in Kroenke's stadiums all around America. We will be just be like, you'll watch live more than me, Soph. You will be able to watch live more than me.
But
doesn't make it right.
What we really know is is how much the media market is changing. Because I still think that while I agree that how the youngsters watch it is changing, I mean, if we've seen this year how important it is to watch it with fans in the stadium, how having, competitive matches actually matters, not least because the players turn up for it. And I'm sceptical that there's as much money in all of this. And that's one of the reasons, of course, why they've already gone to court, because they're terrified about any even wrinkle coming in their market. But the question I just want to leave you with, because I will have to dive off in a minute to do an AST call to plan for tomorrow.
To make soup.
Talked quite a lot
dessert
about whether or not we want to watch this European competition. In some ways, what I'm much more worried about is, if the Premier League carries on and they resolve this row and they get around Rule L, it's going to make that so much worse. Because Arsenal have already qualified. So what are they playing for?
Yeah, exactly. Nothing.
At the moment, Kev, it's really basically Arsenal-Everton is a Europa League qualification playoff. And actually, that really matters to the club in terms of them wanting to build as a process to get to the Champions League and earn more money next year to be a bit stronger.
But you can't budget on it for the next 5 years.
European football. You shouldn't have to be able to do that and budget. But how?
It's a business.
Tell me, Joe, then, given that, how is that game entertaining for an Arsenal fan if we've already qualified for the European Super League? What is resting on the game on Friday? Because
as Kevin will tell you, as we do, when you see the best players go up against the best players, man, it's entertaining.
But you can't have that. You're going to have 20 teams.
No, it's not all the time, Joe. That's absolute bollocks. Have you seen some of the derbies between City and United and even in Italian football sometimes? I'm sorry, Carlo, but it's like watching paint dry sometimes. That's not true at all.
Also, Joe, they are creating the Super League isn't going to create more players.
Sorry,
so where
say that
are
again,
these superstars going to come from to fill the likes of Fulham and Everton and elsewhere? Or are you going to be satisfied watching these 3 or 4 rich teams with their guaranteed income strengthen their squads and go around winning 5-0, 6-0 every game and say, well, that's really watchable because I can watch a really superstar player run around a team that's paid.
But that's what's happening now, Tim. And that's what's happening now, and that's what they're trying to get away from. Barcelona, as Kevin will tell you, at the beginning of this season were shit. And they beat Ferencvaros 5-1. And they were
But it's
terrible.
not happening in the Premier League. It's not
No.
happening.
This is not about the Premier League. It's about the Champions League. It's about a new league that's going head to head to destroy the Champions League. Let's be blunt about it.
How's it going to help the Premier League?
But this is not about the Premier League. It's about the Champions League. It's about destroying the Champions League. Is that not what this is about? Are they replacing? Let me ask you the question, Tim. Is this Super League replacing the Premier League? Yes or no?
No, but you're ignoring the question.
Right. So,
going to destroy the Premier League because it will no longer have the need to do well in it to qualify for the Champions League. So why does the result matter? And it will also create huge income disparity between, let's say, an Arsenal and an Everton, where there's already a disparity. It will magnify that disparity and make that a much less interesting game. But why is it interesting to watch Arsenal in the Premier League if you know that they've already qualified for the following year's Super League?
Tim, I could answer this one. Do you know why it's important? Because you want to win. When you're a professional, you want to win.
Oh, you say that as a player?
I have to.
Kev, what would the players want? Can I ask you, Kev?
The players want to compete at the highest level. That's
correct.
What players want to do.
For the biggest clubs against the biggest clubs. Am I right? Or am I putting words in your mouth?
No, of course. Listen, of course. The fact of the matter is, Arsenal are not saying they want to leave the Premier League. It's the Premier League who done it to the Football League, who have now getting it done to them solely. But it isn't the league; it's the Champions League.
But Kev, that's not my question. My question is, and you know that there are games,
No, I've answered your question, Tim.
No,
first.
you haven't. You're asking it about the Premier League.
I answered your question first.
As fans, so you're saying that it's entertaining to watch a team where the result doesn't matter.
No, but the result does matter.
The result does matter.
Of course, the result matters. It's a game.
In the final, that's the new format that they're proposing.
Why?
It's a game. You want to win. When you're a football player, you want to win. Let's not. Don't be a fan here.
No, but you don't want to win. You want to rest yourself.
Why won't you want to win, Tim? Why won't you want to win?
Because you've got a big Super League game coming up the following week.
Doesn't matter. You still want to win. You want to win every game.
Why?
But you've seen what's happened.
Is.
Yeah, but bit by bit things diminish.
It's not success because it's not going to matter whether Arsenal finish 6th or 12th. They're going to be in the Super League.
Arsenal want to win.
There's no jeopardy.
They want to win.
Hold on. Let's have it right here, because I might be going crazy. If Arsenal take that pitch against Manchester United, against Juventus, against Everton, Arsenal want to win. Everton want to win. It's competition. That's what football clubs are. The key for us is you need to be competitive, and we're not competitive at the moment. That's
what
our
makes us think we're
problem.
going to be competitive in a Super League?
No, I'm not.
We're just going to be there making up the numbers.
Because you have a bigger budget to buy better players.
But Joe, it doesn't matter whether it's Super League, FA Cup, whatever. Every Arsenal team that goes out there wants to win. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, because they've been playing for because you've been used to a structure where performance rewards outcome. But but we're moving to one where it won't.
No, Tim, no. You're thinking as a fan. I'm telling you as a player. When you cross that line, you want to win. That's what you train for. This is your job. You want to win. So do you know what? Do you know what?
Well, why does a fan care about the outcome then?
No, of course you as a fan, because it is a direct correlation to your tradition. Your traditions, it hurts you, Tim.
Yeah,
it hurts me. It hurts me as a fan. But when I talk about as a player, Tim, when I tell you about as a player, I don't care whether it's a friendly. I don't care whether it's pre-season. I don't care whether it's Community Shield. I don't care whether it's the league. I want to win every time I go on that pitch.
I'm sure you do as a player. But for fans, we want to watch games where the outcome matters. We all know this. If you sit down and watch a game that doesn't involve Arsenal, if you know that the team needs to win or they're going to get relegated, or the team is trying to scrape the point to get in a Europa or Champions League place, it's got a little bit more edge, hasn't it? We all know that. We all know that classic March, April, May game, 2 mid-table teams can't get promoted, can't get relegated, and we kind of say, oh, the players are on the beach already. And we all know, and it doesn't quite have that buzz. It doesn't quite have that edge. It's absolutely what happens. We all know that.
Yeah, but Tim, the point of the matter is, if Arsenal and all these 6 are in the Premier League, they still want to win it.
Yeah,
They're
they're
still
all
gonna
of
be
them.
wi-
I don't think we've seen that on display a lot. over the
No, I
last
said
Except
they
for Arsenal.
want to. I said they
Except for
want to. Oh, shut it, Joe. I said they want to. No, they want to win it. No, but listen, I totally get your point, Tim. But the fact of the matter is, if Arsenal and all these other teams are in the Premier League, they want to win it. That's the prestige of the Premier League.
Yeah, but at what cost is what Tim is saying also?
I think it's very likely, we've seen it, that in 1 or 2 games coming up, Arteta will play a weakened side in the Premier League to strengthen his option in the Europa League, because he knows that the Europa League has a better prize at the end of it, because it's there. That prize, this Super League is taking that away, because Arsenal no longer, forever, will have to worry about qualifying for the European competition.
No, but Arsenal
so many
still
of the
want to
games
win
will
them.
be dead.
But Tim,
Okay.
can you tell me? Let me just ask you this question, and
'Cause
everyone
Tim has
in
to go
chat-
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I get that. Sorry, Tim. Are you telling me Arsenal in the Premier League, you don't want to win the Premier League?
Of course, I want them to win it. But what
So
I'm saying,
that's it.
Is in February, when they're 24 points off the top because one team is exceptional, it makes absolutely no difference whether they fight to come 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, because they've already qualified for the following year's Super League.
Yeah,
The
no,
whole
but Tim,
competitive edge
Tim,
of
they're
the
going to
Premier League
need
is
bigger squads.
destroyed by this.
They're going to need bigger squads.
And how's that going to help the Premier League's balance then? Because where are they going to get those bigger squads? By taking players.
Because
off
they've got the money.
teams.
You need
Yeah,
money
exactly.
to get the
They've
bigger
got more
squad.
money. They've got more money than Fulham, more money than Everton. More
I
money
think
But
we
they've
need
got
to
more money
do
than them now.
I think
Okay,
we
okay.
need to do another show. With
Okay,
Tim
here's
and
the
Kev.
scoop. Here's the
Sorry,
scoop. We're gonna
sorry,
get
this-
no. It's true. Listen, this is the beautiful thing, and the beautiful game got ugly for a lot of people in the last 48 hours. And there's no doubt that there is a lot of opinions, and we're all coming from different places. But I think what we all definitely do is love our club. And I know, Tim, you've got to go, but if you would come back, and
I'll always
so we
come
can.
back.
Okay,
Yeah.
lovely. So we can have
Lovely
more of
speaking to you, Tim.
a discussion
Cheers, mate.
about this.
It's
And
good.
everyone
And
wanted to
Amanda,
know
you-
what soup you were eating. Can you
One
please
sec.
share?
It was
Was that a soup or a yogurt?
It's a bit of curry. Oh, some curry with some yogurt because it was hot.
Tim, what's
Yeah.
happening
Yeah,
tomorrow
Alfredo.
night? What's
Tomorrow
happening tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night is like an emergency meeting, like I say, with some supporters from other trusts. We've also got an expert who used to work for UEFA in the regulation division, and will tell us exactly how you deal with things like breakaways and the rules about, who can play in what competition and all those kind of things. But I'd love to come back. Invite me again.
All right.
Okay, perfect.
Tim,
We will.
let us know.
Cheers, Tim. Thanks, mate.
Thanks,
Bye.
Tim.
Thank
Take
you,
care,
Tim.
Tim. All right, I'd like to welcome Carl Stark, who is our resident quote king, to give us a fan perspective. And guess what, guys? Carlo Garganese is back. And do you hear the lawnmower now? I don't think so.
No,
Really?
lawnmower.
He's got the bins on. He's got
Is
the
it
bins
okay?
on.
Is it okay now?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. I honestly don't know.
So I want to
Well,
go to
move your
Carl
screen
first, and then I
down.
want to swing back to Carlo as well. Carl, you're a season ticket holder. You have been for years. You listen to a lot of different Arsenal podcasts religiously, but love this one the most. Tell us your perspective. You were listening to Tim and Kev go back and forth. Just give us your analysis as a fan and what you think of this whole Super League stuff.
Okay, first of all, the reason Arsenal and Tottenham are in this is because we're in the top 20 most valuable clubs in the world.
Yeah, the Deloitte list. Yeah.
No one seemed to know why. That's why we're currently 8th. Essentially, they picked 15 of the top 18 teams. I mean, they've left Everton out, who are higher up than Roma. But at some point in this, we got our club nicked. Is the honest truth. It's somewhere along the lines, we are not a product. We're not a commodity. We're not McDonald's. We're a football club with supporters. Without the supporters, we're nothing. And at some point, our billionaire owners have forgotten about the supporters. They've also forgotten about the players in this. Yeah, no one, they haven't asked our permission. They haven't discussed it. The decision's been made. Integrity is doing the right thing when no one's looking. They're not. No one was looking during COVID, and they haven't done the right thing. I don't care about the international fan base. They want to watch my football team play football, get up in the early hours of the morning and watch it. They do already. I do not want to end up in a Super League. This is not the same thing as the Premier League. The Premier League, we took our fellow clubs with us, essentially. We took Everton, we took Fulham, we took everyone with us, yeah? This isn't. We're leaving them. Essentially, 6 of us are going, fuck you, we're off. The most galling thing in all this is that Italy and Spain actually need the Premiership clubs to go with them, because the Premier League is the most watched sport in the world. Without us, it's just the Italian and Spanish league again. Their business model doesn't work as well as ours. Most of them, Barcelona cannot afford their wage bill next season. It's most of the European teams. We're in bad shape as well, but we're not in as bad a shape as them. We've had government bailouts. Tottenham took a loan as well. This is all about money and protecting the 20 richest clubs in the world, essentially.
Don't you think it's funny, Carl, that the 2 clubs who took the bailouts are Arsenal and Spurs?
Yeah.
And they're the two.
Yeah. But it's, we're not McDonald's. It's not a business that we choose to. I don't choose to follow Arsenal. I have no choice. I can't vote with my feet and go and support another club, because it's an alien. Fans don't do that. We get dragged along in the wake of these billionaires who are just trying to make more money for themselves.
So would you boycott?
Would I boycott?
Yeah, so let's assume that this Super League happens next season and they're off to Europe. Would you boycott it? Would you not go as a fan?
No, because I'm a fan. I can't not go.
Right. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm glad you said that, because today the hypocrisy I've seen today is amazing, and it's come from all quarters, including media. There are journalists who are making statements saying it's scandalous, it's outrageous, all the rest of it. But if their editor said, by the way, do you want to go to Turin next Wednesday night and do the Super League game?
But that's their job, Joe. That's their job. So there's going to be some fans, and I want to circle back to Carlo too, because I want to know if the Italian fan, because Italian football's been riddled with scandal and betting, and I think fans stepped away for a while, Carlo, because people didn't know if they were watching a real product, a true product. And I understand Carl's position in the sense that we're addicts. This football's our crack cocaine. We can't live without it. The thought of not going to a game or not watching a game is, and they know that, and they know they have us on
that's how they get us.
That's how they got us. So what's your take on that, with what Carl's saying, Italian fans and football, especially knowing the kind of difficult side Italian football's had to come through on that? And then as a journalist, to answer Joe's question, you would of course go to cover the game, wouldn't you?
I don't know. I don't know if I would, but I would say I'm not like most other journalists. I mean, I'm in a fortunate position where journalism isn't my only source of income. Whereas I can understand that people that are full-time journalists, where you've got a family to provide for, and it's your livelihood, and you've got a mortgage to pay, that you're put in a difficult position. Where you've got the moral side on one side, but then you've got your family on the other side, and your life. So I understand it's a difficult position. I think that in terms of the fans, one of the big reasons why Serie A declined so much is from a marketing point of view, the Premier League just blew every other league out of the water. And this big commercial beast that is the Premier League. And when you watch the Premier League on TV with the full stadiums and it looks colourful and it's just the perfect product. When you watch Italian football with empty stadiums and the cameras and it's just completely different. And I think we've seen a little bit with the COVID pandemic how the Premier League isn't as attractive when there's empty stadiums, and the football doesn't seem as good. There's an illusion sometimes that football is better than it actually is because of the whole product makes it look better than it is. So yeah, coming back to the fans, the full fans. I mean, I think Kevin said earlier that even if some fans do boycott the stadiums, there's so many others that will come in their places. I mean, waiting list. I remember when I was a kid, I was on the waiting list for years to try and get an Arsenal season ticket. I waited, I think, 9 years until I finally got offered one. And then by then I was at university. I was too old, and I didn't even get it. I didn't even take it in the end. So there's so many, and as Andrea Agnelli was saying himself, they don't care about legacy fans anymore. The real hardcore fans like ourselves. I think all of us here, we're fans that we believe in the traditions of the game, and they don't care about that. They've gone all global. They care even more about the fan that's in America, that's in Asia, and Africa. And they have just as much right to be a fan of Arsenal or any other club. Fans. Yeah, they have just as much right. I'm not belittling them for a second, but it's just that these clubs know that the fans that are the local fans that have got the history, where the history of the club was built, they know that doesn't matter anymore. And just to finish off, just talking about the money side, at the end of the day, this is all about money. At the end of the day, the Champions League, to win the Champions League, a team will make 120 million. That's about the most that you can make from winning the Champions League. Now, to win the Super League, you'll get 400 million, and just to participate in the Super League, so you could not win a single game, not a single game, you could lose every single game in the Super League all season. You will get to around about 275 million. It's been estimated. Now, I mean, that's why these clubs are joining, and that's why it's just the rich. It's been like this throughout history. The rich just want to get richer and richer, and they're greedier and greedier, and they don't care who they take down with them. And sadly, that's what it's about. It's pure greed.
But it's also the debt, Carlo. It's also the debt. Let's call it the pandemic accelerated debt.
Yeah, okay.
It's part of the strategic excuse. It's escalated it. They were planning this way before the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely.
True, but they had debt before the pandemic, but it's just got bigger.
Right. It has.
But they could find another solution to it. I mean, if they wanted to.
What?
Well, just for starters, let's have a look at the wages that footballers are paid now. I mean, Kevin will know the difference between 30 years ago, what players were getting paid then, and what they're getting paid now. If we really wanted to, I know this might sound idealistic, but we could pay players half of what they're earning to save the whole of football. I know that's not going to happen. I know that sounds crazy, but it's the game is too inflated now. So yeah.
The biggest problem though is the governing bodies, UEFA, FIFA. They're all chasing the pound as well. They want money. It's all about money. Who control. Right. The only reason UEFA are pissed off at this is because they're going to lose control of the commodity. Yeah, FIFA wanted their own World Club Cup. Yeah, that's chasing the money. That's the reason it's all about who controls the money in this. And unfortunately, football's not just about that. It's about the fans. It's about tradition and history. This club, this shirt behind me, this club's been around since the 1800s. Yeah, it's not. Kroenke's been around for the last 10 years. There's a lot more that goes along with owning this club than just chasing the money.
I understand that, and I accept that. But what I would say, though, at the same time is, when you said, I don't care about the international fans, you have to. The Premier League is the Premier League now, financially I'm talking about, because of the international TV rights money. The domestic money, I'm just repeating what I said earlier, went down in the last rights cycle, not up. It was the international money that went up. So you're right, it's about the money. And if you want the players and you want to play the biggest teams and the best stadiums, the stadiums themselves, if you want the best stadiums,
don't get me on stadium.
We didn't need to move then, did we?
I preferred where we were.
This is the plan. This was the plan all along.
I think so. David Dean.
Was. Now you see it. Now you see it. What's happening? This was the plan all along. It was.
And David Dean talked about this in 1992. I think it was. These conversations have been ongoing for a long while. At the end,
But
money.
we don't all. Can I just say something? We were talking about the stadium. Sorry. I've been to loads of stadiums. Upton Park was brilliant. West Brom was brilliant. Loads of different. We're never going to experience that anymore. What am I going to fly over?
Who says you can't?
But it's not going to happen, Kev.
Why not? I bet you it does. I can
Okay.
guarantee you, the Premier League will fold.
Well, I agree with you. I know
They cannot have a Premier League without them, but the teams in it.
But can I just say something?
Premier League without them. It's a championship.
Yeah, I understand that. But what I'm trying to say is, when Tim was saying they've broken the rule, I wanted to come in and say, don't matter. The Premier League will fold because they'll have to let us. Yeah. They'll have to let us stay.
Just like the Football League did. Like the Football League did back in 1992. The Football League folded. Remember, the greed started with all the clubs coming into the Premiership. They will fold. They have to.
Maybe people are underestimating the people. COVID has taught us all a lot. It has made people less tolerant and more inviting as to what they want from their lives and what they want to do with the rest of their lives. And I know a lot of people in my life who have changed their lives completely based on what we've seen and what has happened over the last year. You've got people still, it may not be on the news on your doorstep, but you've still got people fighting on the streets here every single day for Black Lives Matter, and you've got them fighting for, equality and rights and all sorts of different things. You are now asking, people keep saying, don't go away to a different country in Europe. Stay in England and help the economy there. But what's happening? People are getting ripped off and you're being asked like £1,500 for a caravan for like 3 days. People are over it. They are over all of this monetary bullshit nonsense.
Get a tent, Sophie.
I'm telling you, get a tent. But the point is that don't underestimate the people, because there comes a time where people rise against something when it becomes just too much.
Yeah. Well, did you see the Liverpool fans rose against, didn't they? What was oh God, who was their American owners before?
Hicks.
They rose.
Hicks and Gillette.
They rose against them. But every club, I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Whether it makes a difference, but whether it makes a difference, Carlo, who knows?
Yeah, they're the minority at the end of the day. We're the many, they're the few. And at the end of the day, I think the way to stop this is, one, the fans, but also footballers. We need the players to come out as well. And we've seen a little bit. We've seen Bruno Fernandes came out today. And
what did he say, Carlo? Because we were on air.
There's the Tottenham Wolves player, Daniel Podence. He put out a picture on Instagram of I'm not sure if it was him, because he used to play for Olympiacos before, I think. And he was celebrating a goal, I think, for Olympiacos playing in the Champions League, and he put something like, dreams come true like this, or something like that. Basically, he was saying that that football's for everyone, kind of thing. And then Bruno Fernandes shared it himself and put clapped. Clapping emojis, and then Cancelo did the same. João Cancelo from Manchester City, and then Mesut Ozil came out and he went against the Super League as well. So there are a few players that are coming out, but we need more. They're
words, Carlo. They're words. It's when it comes to the deeds that you find out who's putting their balls on there.
Oh, well, when it comes down to who's paying your mortgage, that's it. Who's putting food on the table?
Are you going to say, you know what, because of my principles, I will not play in the Super League? Is that going to happen?
Nope.
Well, we see, because you got.
Putting something on social media is one thing.
I agree, but I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next few days, what the reaction is, because obviously it's going to be a legal minefield in terms of. We've seen UEFA's presidents come out today and said that threatening to kick teams out of the Champions League. We can see on Friday. I've spoken to some people that there's talk that on Friday the three, not PSG because they're not in the Super League, the other three teams in the Champions League semi-finals, Madrid, Chelsea, and who's the other team. They're all going to be kicked out of the Champions League.
Man City.
Sorry, Man City. Yeah. Plus, in the Europa League, Arsenal and United kicked out of the. So it'd be interesting to see if that actually happens. If it does, then there's the whole legal battle. But also,
Super League's already started legal action to stop them getting chucked out. So it's
they ain't getting chucked. Listen, this is all a show.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's going to get sorted. I'm telling you. Listen, there's too much money involved.
I was going to say the same thing.
Joe,
So let
Joe tell you.
If they kicked out any of those teams, everyone's focused on the war between UEFA and the clubs. The TV rights holders around the globe and domestically as well would be straight in with the lawyers and saying, I want money back. Because the four very big teams on the planet in terms of global reach, you've just kicked out of your tournament. I want my money back. That's where the legal starts. Forget the clubs against UEFA. That's where the legal starts. The Premier League is the same. There's rights deals for the next 3 years. I want my money back if I'm a rights holder.
Mm. Yeah.
Can I ask you? Go on, Carlo. No, jump in, yeah.
Just to finish, Sophie, my point was that also there's been this threat about international football that players might be banned from playing in maybe not the Euros because it's too soon, but the World Cup next year. Now, again, like Joe said, I mean, we'll see if that will actually happen. Probably, and Carl as well, that, maybe it won't happen, but there's that threat that it will do. And I know, speaking to some people, I was speaking to Chris Wheatley, who's you guys probably all know, is a really top Arsenal journalist, and he said that players, there are players that are asking questions within Arsenal now about, will I be banned? I don't want to get banned from playing in an international tournament. So, these are questions that at least the players are asking. Whether it's going to happen or not is another thing.
Are they just threats?
Can you imagine a World Cup without all the players from the top teams?
Not going to happen.
This is another corrupt organisation throwing their toys out the pram. Let's be honest. Okay. I mean, this is why. Like, there's going to be. This is new. This is happening. This is obviously right now the responses are from fans. It's up the scale. When in a few days when we stop and the threats are out the way, and let's see what this really looks like. UEFA, they can't ban players from playing in the World Cup, Copa America, the Euros. How can they do that? Will FIFA step in? What will they do? Why should we trust them? The most corrupt organization of all.
Throwing their toys out of the pram.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, who's going to pay the price? Yeah. Just like government, right? People can argue whether you're Democratic, Republican, Labour, Conservative. They'll fight. They'll throw their toys out the pram. But at the end of the day, who pays the price? The people pay the price.
Best thing, Soph, is watching the Tory government talk about greed tonight. It was hilarious. Me and Carl were laughing, weren't we, Carl? They're going to get involved. They don't want greed. Football for the people. No, you're not Labour.
It's like a mob war, isn't it? It's like a mob war.
Exactly. I feel like we're in a scene from The Godfather, and Al Pacino saying, "Just when I was out, you pull me back in."
But you know what it's going to be? It's going to be like Dallas and Bobby Ewing. Like, we'll wake up tomorrow and none of this has happened. We're just going back to moaning.
Who shot JR, by the way?
Yeah, exactly. No, that was Bobby Ewing who woke up at the shower and all of a sudden it was a dream.
It was all a dream. It was all a bad dream.
Listen, it will all get sorted out because it has to.
Yeah, it will.
Everyone's going to jostle. Money's going to change hands and everybody's going to be just fine. Watch and see. As far as I'm concerned.
I mean,
I don't like it. Let me just put that down. But it's progress. This is business. It's not business.
I mean, I enjoyed the International Champions Cup because it was a summer thing. It's so much better than sending teams on a bogus tour. Bring them here, let's play, send them to Singapore, let the fans around the world see them. But it's never enough. It's never enough. And I think that's where fans are at their wits' end. So you now have got to turn that into a football model so you reap the benefits and fans miss out on X, Y, and Z. For me, it's very simple. I don't give a shit. You do it, you go ahead, but don't take away the League Cup. Don't take away the FA Cup. Have promotion and relegation. Give people a chance and do not threaten players about playing for their country in global competitions, because
Correct.
that is absolute garbage.
The problem is we've created this beast. It's not, you can't suddenly say, oh, football just died today with the Super League. This has been a slow, gradual thing. Like Kevin said, since the Premier League was formed, ironically with a breakaway of its own in 1992, and that created this whole. I mean, that turned football into a business. That turned it a big corporate machine. And the Premier League have got a lot to answer for as well. I mean, you look at some of the owners that they've let in. They've let anyone in. Sports washers. States running clubs in Europe as well. I mean, this is what's created the beast. And that's for UEFA and FIFA. I mean, it's like I was saying earlier, it's like going from the penultimate level boss in a video game to the final level boss. It's like they're all pretty much as bad as each other. It's just moving from one level to the next. We're already too far down the line, unfortunately.
We are too far down the line. And my goodness, we've had an epic conversation this evening. We're going to start letting our guests go. But Carlo, just wanted to wrap with you. Where does this go? There's a meeting with the Premier League teams tomorrow. The so-called big boys of the Super League aren't invited. It's like, Vanity Fair Oscar party. Only a few get invited. Is there such an event happening in Italy with the other teams that are not participating in the Super League? What's going to happen next there?
Well, all 20 teams were holding a meeting, when I started the call. So, I don't know if anything's come out of what's come from that meeting. So we should find out tonight or tomorrow what's next, really. I mean, the only thing that has come out today is that the Italian league have said they're not going to be punishing any of the teams or any of the 3 Italian teams this season. So that's all we know at the moment. But obviously we have to see what happens with UEFA as well on Friday. That's going to be very interesting. What comes from the big UEFA meeting.
Okay, awesome. Well, we're gonna, if it's cool with you, we'll catch up with you again on this story from the Italian side of football. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. We really appreciate you. Thanks, mate. Thanks so much. Wait, hold on one second before you go. Well, I'll show everyone. You can follow Carlo here on Twitter. He's got a brilliant Italian football podcast, does some fantastic interviews, did an amazing one with Mark Haitley the other day. If you guys want to know about a little bit of fun football history, my goodness, that was a brilliant interview that he did. Joe, circling back to you, our listeners in chat.
It is 1:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
You see, Carl, I'm one of those internationals.
Good on you.
Good for
one of those
up.
Internationals that wakes up at all crikey. Yes.
So could we just get Joe to explain what the experience is when he's presenting in India and all that, and what the Premier League actually means outside of this country? Because we're traditionalists. We love the game. We go to the games. We do that. But Joe's been in global international for quite a while, and his take on it is obviously not our take, but it is why they're going this way. I think that's important for fans to hear. Sorry, Joe.
Kev has had a snapshot of this, obviously, working with us out here in the Middle East and going out to the subcontinent, going out to Southeast Asia as well. But games here are regularly, and I'm just focusing on the Champions League because this is what this is about. The games here are regularly 1 a.m., 2 a.m. starts, which means if you watch the whole game, you're finishing at 4 a.m. So that's midweek as well. That's school nights, by the way. Now, that's just the viewership. Then you go into the actual attending a match. Now, the most common nonsensical argument I hear from domestic fans is that I bought a season ticket. It cost whatever, £1,000 plus my travel, etc., etc. These fans will save up for their one trip a year to go to the Emirates, to go to Old Trafford. Them, their partner, wife, father and son, that trip will cost the best part of £2,000 to £3,000 just for the weekend, the hotels, the flights, etc., etc. So what makes them any more less of a fan or any different of a fan to the domestic ones, other than history? And that's the important thing to remember, because they are growing. That fan base, that international fan base, Carl, it's growing. The domestic fan base it's not growing at the same trajectory. Does that make sense? As the domestic fan base
Well,
is?
there's more money to be made from the international fan and TV rights and collabs and sponsorships, third party, events, and unfortunately, Carl and Amanda are not the fans that the owners care about anymore. They're just not.
And I think did one of the owners today not actually come out and say that they were talking about the future fans and
they
being a global game?
They called us legacy fans. It's the future fans are the ones they're interested in.
Yeah, which comes back to sorry, Carl, forgive me, I don't know if you missed this before. Which comes back to the ultra fans and the casuals. They're trying to capture the casuals, and anyone that's interested in the business model should go and have a look at the UFC about capturing casual fans instead of just focusing on the ultra fans. So Kev's absolutely right. Until you've been abroad and until you've seen that. However, I'll just finish by saying there's one caveat to it. I've been broadcasting out here for 15, 16 years to the Middle East, to South Asia, and to Southeast Asia. 15 years ago or 16 years ago, you could walk into a supporters bar for Arsenal fans, Man United fans in Delhi, Singapore, wherever, and it would be rammed to the rafters, irrespective of the game. Man United against Burnley, Arsenal against West Brom. That's just not the same anymore. It's rammed to the rafters when Arsenal are playing Man United or Arsenal are playing Juventus, but not the Burnleys of this world.
But that's because they can watch it on TV. And also home entertainment has completely grown over the last 10 years in terms of what people can see at home versus what they're willing to go and do in a community or watch a game at a pub. And hold on a second, let me finish, because there's fans like Mark that I want to put this comment up, very important. You guys are misreading international fans. We're all ultras. We are. Okay, and here's another one for you too. Devesh, a fan from India, listening to this podcast at 2:15 in the middle of the night. They love the Premier League. Correct. I think that sometimes we label international fans, and Amanda and I have come to the defense of international fans. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'll watch Arsenal. If I can go down to the pub, now it's COVID, but I'll go down to the Fox and Hound and watch a game with the Arsenal Los Angeles group, or go to Long Beach, or up to San Francisco, where I've watched games before with fans. These fans are and have evolved and changed the game. Now, for fans like Amanda and Carl, that might not be for the better, but they shouldn't be ignored just because they can make an extra buck from the international fan, who, by the way, is as loyal and as dedicated. The Arsenal America group here organize a trip every single year where Arsenal fans are among however many branches across these great 50 United States. They go to Arsenal to watch the game at the Emirates. They want that experience. They don't want to go to Kroenke's new stadium here where the Rams play and the Chargers play to watch Arsenal play in the middle of the season. And I think it's those nuances, it's those things, Joe, that are an issue for fans, because there is a culture and a community to it. There is something whereby you dream of going to the Emirates, or you used to dream about going to Highbury to watch the Arsenal play. They don't want to watch them at Yankee Stadium. They might want to do that in a preseason game against Real Madrid, but they don't want that week in, week out.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Sophie. And you understand it because you're an international fan, even though you're an ultra international fan, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's a different topic for another day, is, playing games abroad. So, but just coming back to it, I mean, everything is data driven now. I get presented after every weekend of shows, as Kevin knows, with a whole set of data analytics. And I can tell you, I can show you that they're not watching big team, whoever their big team that they support is, and I'm talking about the 12, against tiny team. They're just not watching in those numbers. But when big team comes up against big team, the numbers are phenomenal. They're not big, they are phenomenal.
Can I just say something?
That's the problem.
Right? Before, when I said I don't care about international fans, that's not what I meant, because I know this is going to be brought up. I can see people saying it.
That's why I put it up, because I need to address
what I would like to express, and this is exactly how I feel, and you can lambast me for it all you want. I'm no more an Arsenal fan than anyone that lives in Mauritius, Australia, New Zealand. No one. I never see myself any better a fan than anyone. I go to the stadium. I don't think I'm any better than anyone else that doesn't go to the stadium. But my club is based in England. We play at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. And what I mean by that is I don't want to be playing at 1 o'clock in the morning so people can go and watch in another country at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been brought up with the English way of football. It is an English game. Why are you now going to play in America at 5 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm going to have to get up at 1 o'clock in the morning? I pay my season ticket. I'm sorry, this is how I feel. It's not that I don't care about other fans. Of course I do. I champion anyone. I've seen Arsenal America. I've been with them and they've come to the Tollington pub and we've had drinks with them. They're obsessed with Arsenal. Doesn't mean they're any more of a fan than anyone else. We're all fans. But the history and the tradition is in London, in Islington, in Hackney, at the Emirates, I'm afraid. And that is not up for discussion in my head. It has got to be played. Well, I'd love 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. I don't like 8 o'clock on a Friday night. It's not that I don't care about you all around the world, but I'm not asking the NFL to kick off at 7 o'clock on a Sunday evening in the UK. If I want to watch the NFL, I'll get up and watch it. And that's how I feel.
Because you're an ultra. And it's
that's
about
right. I don't like the NFL, Joe, and I wouldn't watch it, okay?
Okay.
But because there's thousands and thousands of people over here that do love the NFL, they don't have a right to turn around and go, I want it 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. It's an American traditional sport, like English football is. Do you understand what I mean? If you want to watch football when you live in India, that's your choice to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I salute you. I've got plenty of friends around the world that get up. Sophie does. She gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes.
But this is what this is all about. You know, coming back to the money thing, it's about trying to put a net around a bigger group of casuals.
Of course,
not ultras, casuals. So,
Joe,
so
I totally get it.
Come back to you, Amanda, how do you do that? Well, you do, but you grab more casuals by pulling those games earlier.
Yes, of course.
Midweek,
it's the
so
market.
They're not watching at 2 or 3 a.m. That's the whole point of it. It's like, I'll finish on this. This is where UEFA and the Champions League had the opportunity years ago to revamp their format and to change those things, and they didn't. When they went to 2 kickoffs per night, I was like, oh, bravo. What did they do? They still put the biggest and best teams at the late kickoff and the shitty teams at the early kickoff. Yeah. And by the way, it was only, I think, is it 2 games in the early kickoff and the other 6 games of a match night in the group stage I'm talking about, or the later kickoffs. What nonsense, man. Nonsense. And then they will go to the TV broadcasters and say, we want more money. No,
they're taking it away from fans like me that have gone to the stadium week in, week out, all our lives for the global market. And I get that because, as you said, they've got to go to the bigger market because of the money and the finance. I get it. It stinks, but I get it. I'm not an idiot.
Amazing stuff, you guys.
Here's
what we're going to do.
Joe.
Thank you. Carl, before you leave too, just wanted to get your take and then we'll close the show. And here's what we're going to do, you guys. We're going to play the Henry Winter interview tomorrow. Oops.
2 hours, so
yeah, it's 2 hours.
Joe needs his beauty sleep.
You're such a casual.
Tell me, am I a pumpkin?
You're such a lightweight. I mean, what's wrong with you? It's only 2 o'clock in the morning.
Just stay up all night. Just stay up all night.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Joe. Thank you.
We've got 650 people.
Still,
in
they
chat.
don't want to go anywhere. They don't want to go anywhere. Well, look, Joe, let's have you back as the story unfolds, okay?
Yay. Well done, Joe.
Yes, Joe. Yes. Thanks, mate.
How do I
Thanks, Joe.
Just leave studio.
Leave studio.
Leave. I'm going to remove you. Hey, this is going to be really. It's going to be pleasurable for some people in the chat. I love how polarizing you've been. It's brilliant. I'm going to remove you now.
Definitely having Joe back.
Bye,
darling.
See ya. Bye.
Carl, and then there were 4.
Let's get you out on this. You've listened to all of the experts, the TV broadcasters, the journalists. At the end of the day, you've made your point clear as a fan. You'll still go to games. What's your exit on this one?
Okay, well, this isn't Arsenal doing this. This is Cronky doing this. It's Arsenal is something more than our owners. Arsenal is the fans and the players and our history. My Arsenal offered a replay to Sheffield United in the FA Cup when we were perceived to have broken fair play rules. No one's ever done that before. That's my Arsenal. My Arsenal's classy. Kroenke's Arsenal's not.
I like that. All right, very well said, Carl.
Well
Thank
said.
you so much for joining us. You smashed
Well
your
said.
debut here on the Highbury squad. Just saying, maybe you can fill in for someone else when they're not available.
Come on, Carl.
We'll get you and Tony as the new co-hosts here. I love that.
On that note, bye guys.
Okay, bye, Carl.
Cheers, Carl.
Vote for Carl. Vote for Carl.
Oh, we don't like
my
that.
God,
angle.
no.
Yeah, we don't like that one. When there's more people. Okay, listen.
Wow.
Really good stuff,
That was
you
really
guys.
good. That was really good.
We planned on a 2-hour show today, PG. I don't know if we told you
No,
that, but it
I
was
know,
definitely
I
going to
know.
be.
We could just go on for hours because
Yes.
all our guests have been so interesting.
They have.
I
They've
mean,
been brilliant.
the three of us have never been so quiet. It's like, it's just brilliant because the thing
Very
is,
knowledgeable. Very knowledgeable.
we all come from different angles. You come from the player, Tim comes from the AST, Joe comes from the fact that he's a broadcaster abroad. You got Carl and me that are just normal fans, and
Exactly.
it's just
I need Kevin to address this because Adam won't go away. He's not. Oh, brilliant show. Yes, that's true. Kev,
what's Adam said.
Adam saying Kevin Campbell is a supporter of the elitist football mafia. Ian Wright has called Arsenal out. I'm not sure if you've been watching. Kev said very clearly, Adam, he's against this.
Jeez,
But he's
right.
responding to the
hold
dialogue.
Hold
Go
on.
Kev.
Let me just
speak.
answer. Let me just answer.
You elitist.
just so people don't say Sophie, you're speaking for Kev. I 100% do not like it. I hate it. I'm a traditionalist. First game was 1977 at Highbury. I'm still an Arsenal fan. 44 years later. What part of that don't you understand? But what you've got to do, you've got to look at the reality of what's going on. It's because Arsenal are a business. That's why this is happening. And it's not Arsenal jumping out of the Premier League. It's the Premier League and UEFA threatening Arsenal. Taking them out of the Premier League. You're not going to be able to play FA Cups. Why not? This is a direct effect for the Champions League. These teams need the money. This is the bottom line. Teams are in debt that you would never, ever believe. They're in debt.
Yeah, terrible trouble.
How do they rectify that debt? They rectify the debt by not participating in their league. They can do that to help all the other teams as well. But it's the Champions League format which is not paying them enough. UEFA have never revamped it to the liking of the big boys. That's why this has come up. And you tell me which club, just for participating, if you win it, you get 120 million. Just for participating, you get 230 million. Come on, guys. This is simple maths. So it's not I back it. It's happening. It's been happening since 1992.
Yeah.
There's a video of Righty that I've just seen. I haven't watched it yet, so
I've seen it.
I've
seen it. Yeah.
I've not seen it. I've not seen it yet. But look, at the end of the day, we're all a little bit in shock. It just broke on our podcast last night, and we really didn't know much about it, and we still don't. We have to wait and see. If we're not going to be chucked out of any competition, then it might be a bit more easier to swallow. But at the moment, I just don't know what to think anymore.
Well, look,
I think Carl's right, though, Soph, isn't it? We all love Arsenal. Arsenal is the history, is the tradition.
100%.
Kroenke isn't Arsenal.
And this is what I was saying earlier. No matter what side of the fence you are, if you love your club, you love your club. And there might be some people that are swayed on this. You know, there might be some people that kind of veer towards it. I think they will if we're not threatening players and if we're not, compromising the things that we love. I mean, look, don't take our FA Cup away. We've won it for more than any other team.
Exactly.
God damn it, we've only got a few things left.
And we're such a cup team.
We're a cup team. We don't compete for the league, for God's sake. Please.
Well, listen, it's been brilliant. We'll play the Henry Winter interview that Kevin and I did earlier tomorrow, because it's 2 hours. So that will be something to look forward to tomorrow. Look out for that. I'll be flying solo tomorrow. So we'll play that and then we'll talk about it. And then you guys get to have even more of a say. To everyone as you leave the club, the 842 club, the 842, that's my house number. What the hell is that? What's she talking about?
842 club. Oh, really?
That's what we call it.
Party at the 842 club.
Exactly, PG. Please, you don't have to leave a tip at the door. All you have to do is hit the like button. And now we've got 2 things that you hate. If you hate, tell them, KC and PG.
if you hate the Spuds, right, hit that like button.
And
or
if you
don't like
Super League,
hit the like button. If you don't like it, if you don't like us, hit the dislike button.
Exactly.
Hit a button.
Hit a button.
And if you want Carl to come back when I can't do it, hit the like button.
Do you know what? I had what's really funny? The conversation got so engrossing. Look, I had pictures of Daniel Levy. I had him. I had Roman. I had Florentino Perez. I had look at Kroenke's dodgy little suit here. You've got, this little, won't say anything, and that, and then I was going to put the Invincibles up. We got Bayern, we got Liverpool, just to remind people like what is at stake here. So there, I had to have my little pictures because it took me time to download them.
But do you know something, Sophie? When you look at the hierarchies, they are the power brokers. They are football's power brokers, whether we like it or not. Some of them run the biggest clubs in the world. They own the biggest clubs in the world. It's going to happen. We are traditionalists. I want Arsenal to play 3 o'clock on a Saturday, don't we? That's what we love. But you know what? Premier League changed everything. It's changed everything.
Yeah.
And once you start the shift, you can't stop it.
Once you get on that train.
Yeah.
Well, look, I've got to get on this train out of here.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll be back tomorrow. Kev, we'll see you next week.
See you next week, yeah.
Yeah. Kev's got a busy week ahead. But don't worry, we'll be Amanda will be back Wednesday.
I will see everyone on Friday night.
Yes. Yeah. Friday night football.
Arsenal Everton, which
who are you going to be
interesting now.
Who are you going to be rooting for?
Listen, I always say, I'm an Arsenal fan.
I know.
I'm an Arsenal fan. But I never want harm to come to Everton.
No.
But I actually think Arsenal will win the game. I do.
Oh, let's do a quick prediction.
I think Arsenal win 2-1.
It could end up being a friendly. It might not matter. Are we at the Emirates or at Everton? Like it makes any difference?
I like this idea. I like the idea of starting our own football club, Highbury Squad FC.
And we could all be the squaddies instead of Gooners.
Exactly. I mean, I think we started a revolution here.
I'm going for 2-2 Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
I think Everton will win. I'm sorry.
No, it wouldn't surprise me if they did, because the way we are playing, bloody hell.
Yeah, I think Everton will win 3-1.
I tell you what, Soph, PG, if we play like we did on Sunday.
Yeah, that's happening, isn't it?
It could be more than blooming 3-1.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, God.
And the wonderful Alan Myers will be joining us after the game on Friday. But also, you'll hear Kev throughout the week. He'll send us a couple WhatsApps here and videos.
We'll send videos
that we'll play in some of the shows. Until tomorrow, thank you, everybody, for joining us. I know she's yawning now. We got to go because we're just, it's it will just keep going, the yawn. So yes, let's go, PG.
Yeah, okay, right. Listen, what a show. Thank you to everyone that came on. We're going to have them all back, especially Carl. Thanks, Soph. You've been brilliant. Kev, we'll see you on Sky Friday night. Mm-hmm. I'll be back Wednesday night with Sophie. We got a really good guest. please join Sophie tomorrow night. I'm going to have to tune in somehow because I want to hear this interview with the wonderful Henry Winter. It's been brilliant. It's been a mad day. We say goodbye to Jose Mourinho again.
Well,
we didn't even discuss this. I'm so gutted he has been gone. But anyway, I'm not going to go on. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We had hundreds and hundreds of questions. We love you all. Good night. And always Arsenal.